Hey everyone, we're here to talk about the pull-up program, or the pull and push program that we have. It's located just right here on the whiteboard. We actually have two. One's a little bit more self-explanatory, but this is kind of the basic one that we recommend people start with. And you want to come in and film it?
Yeah, so you can see what it looks like.
So basically what we have here is we have a program that's 32 days, and ideally it's done within 32 days. This is not huge amounts of intensity or volume that are going to leave you super wrecked, so you can ideally follow this every day. But basically we have a pull and we have a push for every day. It goes from high volume to high intensity, and ideally all of these are RM sets, so rep max sets, and that whatever the number is, that is all you have. You don't have any leftover reps. And we have a bunch of horizontal pulls and a bunch of vertical pull variations. Strict pull-ups, ring rows, strict chest to bars, ring rows, strict fat bar pull-ups, ring rows, strict chin-ups. And then for pushing, we have horizontal pushes, and then we have some overhead stuff as well, so handstand push-ups. But basically, if you're looking to get pull-ups in a kind of structured way and you want something to follow, this has been pretty successful here. People that actually follow it through to the 32 days have had some success with it, and yeah, that's.
I would say that's undersold. We've had people get from 0 pull-ups to a muscle up, so that's pretty.
A lot of success.
Pretty damn good. Andrew's just downplaying the success of this. So I have a few questions for you on this. So what if I have 0 pull-ups? Can I do this program?
Yes, you can. So
in fact, you should do this program.
You should, exactly. It's for you. It's for you. So there's ways to basically put in a lot of volume, whether you have 10 pull-ups or 0 pull-ups. So if you are someone that has a lot of pull-ups, this can still be very beneficial. If you have 0 pull-ups, you can modify accordingly and get a lot of reps in, get a lot of volume in, and in turn build a lot of strength.
Cool. Should we take a look at the movements?
Yes. Let's do it.
And stop.
So one of the first movements for the pull program is strict pull-ups. If it was day 1, it'd be 1 by 16. So if Eric has pull-ups, he can just do normal pull-ups. We're looking for a hollow body position, full extension at the bottom, and then chin above the bar. Just a normal pull-up, you guys, what we promote in the normal class. So we're going to hop down, Eric. If he doesn't have pull-ups, he can obviously use bands and try and band accordingly so we can get the reps that are prescribed. So 16 reps, you'd use a band accordingly to get all 16 reps in one unbroken set. Position's very important, you guys. We don't want to break and get crazy with it. We don't want to kip on them and go all over the place. In turn, if Eric has tons of pull-ups, if he can do 16 body weight with no bands, and he can do even more than 16, then he could load up if he wanted to. So the biggest thing is just making sure it's an RM set. So from there,
I was going to do loaded pull-up.
Okay, yeah.
Loaded pull-up.
Whatever it is. So as long as number 16 is all he's got, so give me number 16, show me what number 16 looks like. All he's got, very good. Oh, perfect. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
So next, kind of the real volume comes in. We got ring rows, 1 set of 32. We're not going to go through the whole list. We're just going to go through the movements on it. Ring rows, pretty self-explanatory. You guys know it. What I will say on a high volume set of ring rows is that I'd like to see Eric accommodate his body or accommodate his strength throughout the set. So if he can do 10 with his hips nice and tight or on a box, that's great. If they begin to die out, I want him to hang out on the rings and start walking his body backwards so we can do 1 set of 32 unbroken, basically making it an RM set. If he does have tons of ring rows, I don't want him to start at a huge angle in which it's too easy for him. I want him to start challenging, make it a progressive set, so basically progressive resistance or accommodating resistance so he can maintain that 32 reps unbroken. Strict chest to bar pull-ups. We'll see if Eric has any in him right now. It's just a deeper vertical pull. Can you see a deeper vertical pull. And once again, trying to maintain that hollow body. Try not to break in the shoulder so much. So show us a good one.
Whoop, didn't make it. Hold on.
So this may be an example of Eric may want to use bands. Even though he has tons of pull-ups already, he may want to use bands on that just so he can maintain that hollow body position, not have to break in his back. More ring rows, strict fat bar pull-ups. If you guys hadn't noticed, over our squat racks we have fat bars. Very valuable. You guys can play with the grip. You can go thumb over an open grip, or you can wrap that thumb around and really stretch your other 4 digits. But basically, it's just a little change on your pull-ups. It's going to change the pulling mechanics because you have to grip so freaking hard. But it's also going to help develop your grip strength. Grip strength plays a huge role in your ability to do pull-ups. We got more ring rows, and then strict chin-ups. I want to hop back on this one.
Yeah.
On a normal ball, we're just going to supinate our grip And hopefully you can knock out a little bit more volume on the chin-ups and keep them nice and strict as well. Full extension at the bottom. This can also help open up the shoulders, which is really nice. So that's the gist of the movements in the pulling program if we want to knock out the pushing movements real fast. We also have the push portion. Can you see that? And basically, as we get into more and more sets, higher intensity, it's just going to give you something to superset so you can be as productive as possible. So we have ring dips, ring push-ups, handstand push-ups, ring dip with a pause, and neuro grip push-ups. All these variations of pushing, both horizontal and vertical. So if we start with a ring push-up, if it was one set of 32, that's one of the days on here, one of the starting days. We just want to make the push-ups hard. This can also be a progressive set. So if Eric has a bunch of push-ups, he can start directly underneath the bar. And if he starts to lose his depth, he can walk out. On the rings, you guys, just to be clear, it's a normal push-up, so the butt cheeks should be nice and tight, so you're squeezing your hips hard, going down as a unit, coming up as a unit, and ideally when you go down, you're cupping that ring. That's good depth. Strength is range of motion specific, so we want to get good depth and good range of motion. So next, we would have ring dips, another movement in the push program. So we don't use bands and wads just because at Cross Walnut Creek we feel like it can be a little unproductive and people can get a little too wacky with the band, maybe bouncing around. It also takes out the component of holding the rings close to your body. It kind of pulls the rings in for you. In a more structured setting like after class doing the push-pull program, the band can be very beneficial. So if Eric hops on just a normal ring dip first, if he can go all the way down, cup the ring with his shoulder and drive out and get that good extra rotation at the top, that's awesome. If he can't do that, then use a band. But make sure you guys are using a band that you're going to get something out of it. So if it is 16 reps, band accordingly so you're not just bouncing up and down. That rep number 16 should be fairly challenging. Get your knees in that band, that's probably the toughest part. Go down and then drive out. When used correctly, bands on ring dips can be super, super productive and helpful. Next, handstand push-ups to the wall. So we like using ab mats here. If you don't have handstand push-ups, it gives you an actual marker so you're not just going to random spots. You can tell if you're making progress. So Eric has some handstand push-ups, but we'll just go straight to the ab mat. If he hops up, we got tight hips, tight belly, point the toes. We're going to drive down. The forehead's going to fall slightly in front of the hands. He's going to drive up, elbows locked out, head through, maintaining basically a hollow body position with nice tight hips. So handstand push-ups, you guys use ab mats accordingly so you have some way of marking your progress. If it's 15 reps, even just an inch is going to be beneficial, and you're going to slowly start bringing it down from there. Ring dip with a pause. Finding positions, developing strength in those positions is very important. So the pause, what we want is a pause on the base. So if he goes down and breaks his momentum for a second and then drives out, that's beautiful. It's just like pausing on your strict press or resetting on your deadlift. So we basically have to develop that force from kind of a dead position. Or you guys can also add, we want the bottom, but you could also add a pause at the top. So if Eric goes down, pauses on the bottom, nice and stable, drives out, gets a good lockout, holds for a second, and then drives back down. Good, and those days will be specified that we actually want to pause on that. And then the last thing, we have neuro grip push-ups. Eric's got those over there. This is grip strength more than really push, you guys. It's kind of a fun variation. It's a good way to get these neuro grips in because they're a very valuable tool. He's got to crush those handles, be strong in the wrists. He's going to go down just like a normal push-up and come back up. If he's weak in the wrist, he's going to fall over. If he loses his body position, there's a good chance he's going to fall over. So we've got to stay tight in the hips, tight in the belly, press, and lock out. All right? If you don't have neuro grips, it's tough to modify these. You could potentially do them on your knees. It's a little wonky. Or you could just do a push-up hold. So if you just go in a push-up position and hold that position, that can be very challenging in itself.
What about just an eccentric descent?
So loading the eccentric can be good. If you can barely hold yourself, that can be pretty challenging, and you could be prone to falling over. But yes, just kind of playing with it. So that's